Hi everyone, welcome to the live stream. I'm just gonna set up the system and make sure everything works. And I'm gonna give you a second to tune in and for other people to join us, and then we'll get started. Hi everyone, welcome. It's so nice to see people join. Feel free to say hello in the chat. I'm just taking a minute for other people to give them some time to drop in, and then we'll get started. I can see that Clockwork System is saying hello. Feel free to check out their channel on YouTube. They're doing amazing work. Hi Swati and hi Kaleidoscope, welcome. So nice to see you. So just so everyone knows, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and other places. All at the same time. It's the magic of the internet tonight. So it's very exciting. So I just want to take some time so everyone can join, right? I see Dromester is here. So nice to see you. How do I turn it off? Oh, I don't know. Oh, there we go. All right. Yes, my notes. Let's hope this all works out. It's new software, people. Very exciting. So, let's see. What are we going to do today in the live stream? First, I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to talk about our topic today, which is Selves Care. So that's very exciting. And then after that, we're going to do a Q&A where you can ask your questions in the chat, and I will answer them if I have an answer. So very exciting for this. So who am I? I am the Stronghold System and many people in one body. My name is Bailey. I'm one of the people in this system. I've been fronting a lot recently, maybe kind of hosting, but we're moving away from that terminology where possible for ourselves. If you use the word, that's great. But for us, it just doesn't really suit anymore, I guess. I don't really know. Anyway, some people in our system want to move away from that word for ourselves. Thank you everyone for saying hello in the chat. It's really nice. I'm really glad that we can have this engagement because that's why we're doing a live stream. So if you want to participate in the chat, that's great. Very exciting about that. So who are we? We live in the Netherlands. English is our second language, so bear with us if we make a mistake. We are 33 years old. We are the parent of an amazing child. Our pronouns are they, them. So are mine, so that's easy. And we started the very first nonprofit for all forms of plurality, including DID and OSTD. It is called the Plural Association, and it was registered in February 2020. So very exciting that there is now a nonprofit for people with DID and plurality. And slowly we're rolling out more and more things, including these live streams on multiple platforms, which really is fun because we can have a lot of engagement. So the Plural Association is a nonprofit that now helps over 3,000 people in 50 different countries with 50 volunteers, which is absolutely amazing. There were so many requests for volunteers that we just had to take the form offline. It was really touching and moving for me that so many people were willing to help in the community. So yeah, and also I could never do it alone, so I'm very glad that we have 50 volunteers helping out. Our main goal is the empowerment of plurals, and one of the things that we want to do for that is build a warm line platform where systems and their headmates can share their stories and worries with a trained peer support volunteer who is also a system, right? And You could email, chat, or call with them. So that's a super exciting project, long-term project. It needs to be custom built and we need to fundraise for it, but it's a very exciting project that we're working hard on behind the scenes. So let's go over some comments that came in. Katie says hello. Kaleidoscope says hello. Laura says thank you for doing this. Kashi says hello. And Swati says, do you train volunteers too? Yes, we do train volunteers. We're still working on our official training. Recently, Emma Sunshaw from the System Speak podcast and blog, they gave us a training. So that's very exciting. We're going to work with them on that. And then we're also writing our own training, and also of course, how the platforms work. So yeah, we're working on that for sure. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, so last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess, we sent out a newsletter, and there was an overwhelming response from the community. We're so grateful for the support that came in, and almost everyone read it. So it was really, really cool, actually. So after that, we were able to get a virtual office, it's called, but it's basically just a legal address that we need for the nonprofit. That's also vital for my own privacy protection. And we were able to pay for it a year up front, which meant that it cut the price by nearly 50%. So that's absolutely awesome, because that means that from now on, more of the donations can go to other important things than just that legal address. So one of the things that we invested in was this software that allows us to live stream to all these different platforms, which is really nice because that means we can reach our communities at the different social medias. Okay, so this week the topic is Selves Care. So let's go over the topics, or the bullet points, I guess, that I wrote for this. Yeah, I hope you like it. Normally these videos would be pre-recorded and edited, but we thought let's try to do it live and see what happens. And you can ask your questions right away or afterwards, or both. Yeah, so exciting. Okay, the first one that I wrote down for self-care, my notes are here, by the way, are journals and or have inner world meetings, because we need to know what our system needs in order to be able to provide it. And that makes a lot of sense, right? You probably have heard this already 100 times before from me and other YouTubers and other people who write a lot about plurality, that it's really important to communicate with your system. But it's kind of like going to the gym. You also know you should go to the gym, maybe if you want to. But to do it is difficult, right? So one of the tricks that we thought about and that we practice in our own life is to combine those moments of communication with other things we have to do. For example, brushing our teeth is a great moment for us to have some internal communication and check in with each other, see how everyone is doing, both in the morning and the evening. Okay. I'm gonna have a drink. Hold on. And so for the longest time, maybe 5 years or something, we had a notebook in our bathroom, in our toilet sink. So if we wanted to communicate with each other, that was the place we would do it. Because else we would just forget. We would say, okay, we're going to journal every day. And then on day 5, we would forget. And on day 7, we were oh, we forgot. And then it was really hard to start over and get into it again. It's going way better now with journaling. We started with a gratitude journal and actually expanded from there. And we're doing a bullet journal right now. So that's working out great for us, but it was hard for a long time. So the tip is combine it with other things. You have to do. Cooking is also a great moment to check in with each other. A222 is saying, nice shirt. It's from my own store, the Stronghold shop store. Do I have a link for you? Maybe. Let's see. I can find it. Yes, that's the store. Okay. Second point on the bullet point list is it's about food. So that's just a content warning. It's about food. I'm not going to go in details about food, but it's about food. So the tip is make a menu. That way you only have to fight like once a week instead of every day about what you're going to eat. And then you just follow the menu right after you make it together. And journaling is a great way to do that. We have a menu planner in our bullet journal. So once a week we have a discussion about what we need, and then we also make our grocery list together. So nothing gets forgotten. Yeah, sometimes it's hard, like we switch days around. Like if I'm tired one day, maybe I eat something easy and I swap some days around, but it has gotten us some peace of mind that we all also know that the food is in house and that we can eat and that someone is going to make it because we agreed upon who's going to cook on which day or like who is going to do what. So, okay. The third tip is from Emma in our system, who is 12 years old, and her tip is to have dance parties together. And you can do this in your inner world or in your outer world, and it's a lot of fun. And it's a great way for our system kids to have some fun together. And for us, Emma organizes this every Friday in our inner world, and it's a blast. So if you don't have dance parties yet, it's a great thing to do, and just dance like no one is watching, right? Someone on Facebook says dance parties are the best. Yeah, they are. Okay, let's see. Tip number 4. I think, yes, I should have numbered these. That would have been easier, I guess. Meditation. It's no magic, but it does help. I have a statistic here. I'm going to read it. According to the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, meditation can help reduce blood pressure, anxiety, and depression. So kind of like the first one, right? We know we should probably do it or try it, but to actually do it is really hard. So here is a kind reminder to give it a try. Like a lot of people think when they have to do meditation, when they are going to do meditation, that the goal is for complete silence in their like mind. That's really hard, especially if you're plural. In my opinion and experience, and I am no expert at all, it's a lot easier to just observe the thoughts or like the voices of the other people in your system. And to train it like a muscle. Like the first time I could meditate maybe for like 5 minutes, and now I do it for a long time if I have the opportunity. No magic, but it does help. Okay. Number 5 is be extra kind to yourselves today, tomorrow, and every day after. So every morning when we wake up, we promise each other, like in our system, that we will be extra nice to each other today. And tomorrow we do the same thing, and the day after that we do the same thing. And this has really helped us. And we also have someone in our system who reminds us throughout the day, especially when we're having like negative self-talk or we're like bickering with each other. This person reminds us like, hey, today we're going to be extra nice to ourselves. And, that really helps us to do various things like take breaks and eat and shower and do all sorts of self-care because we feel that is included in being nice to ourselves. And then we have a bonus tip from Suzanne, one of our volunteers from the Radio Collective, and that is be creative together. They are artists and they love to paint. We are not artists, I guess, but we do all sorts of things like make these shirts. Emily loves to do that. So that is our creative outlet. And for us also, creative outlet is often our work, but that's not really relaxation. So we can make real art, like real art. What is that kind of word? I mean, like not work related art. That is a great thing to do together for Selves Care. Those were my 5 tips and a bonus tip. If you have questions, please let me know in the chat, and I will see if I can answer them. I think that would be fun, and else we have other things to talk about. Someone says you and our media artists. Yes, in a way. I see some questions coming in. Thank you so much. Please keep them coming. Swati says, what if you don't want to make money off your art? I was asked to make money teaching, but I only paint like a 5-year-old. Well, no, you can't say that 5-year-olds deserve money. But if you just paint like a 5-year-old, you do, like you put in the effort, right? But I think like it's okay to just make art because you want to make art, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for monetarily gain, right? That's something that's really something in our culture, I guess, or maybe like just our generation, that everything we do has to be for money, but I don't think that's very healthy. So I think good for you if you don't want to make money of it. Clockworks is asking, how do you become a volunteer for the Plural Association? So it hasn't been answered here yet. We had a form on our website, thepluralassociation.org /donate, I guess. No, not donate, sorry, /volunteer. And there was a form there, but because we had such an overwhelming response, we took the form offline because we already had 50 people signing up. So right now it just says like send an email to contact@thepluralassociation.org, and we hope that way only people who are like really interested will like sign up. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Feel free to sign up, send me an email if you want to join the team. That would be epic. And maybe we'll put up a new form soon, but I don't know right now. So just send me an email. SDM says, do things because you want to. Capitalism is a toxic ideology that doesn't make sense when considering systems. Agreed. Clockwork says, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, so many people signed up. It was amazing. I'm so grateful that so many people signed up. And it's just like with most software, you pay per user. So I was like, let's first get to know the 50 people who signed up. It's also really hard to manage a really, really large team, right? So, but feel free to send me an email, and I'm sure we can find a place for you somewhere in the team. That would be great. Thank you so much. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we can answer them if we know the answer. Hi, Crystals. I need a drink. Crystal says, I didn't know this was happening. I decided on it yesterday. Let's see, another question came in from Facebook. How do you ground with you personally dissociate? How do you ground when you personally dissociate? That's a good question. I think it's, so first of all, it's good to realize that it's really hard for us dissociative people to ground, right? Like, sometimes I hear people say like, oh, I tried it, but it didn't work for me. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly the point. Like, that is part of the disorder. So if you have DID or OCD, right? So I think it's something that you gotta practice and train. And also it really, really helps to do it together. Like, if you ground with the idea of like, everyone will shut up and leave me alone, like the people inside, it's gonna be very hard to ground. Whereas if you invite everyone to ground with you, it might like get easier every time when you practice it. Any tips for being less affected by a difficult, extremely invalidating person in everyday life? The denial cycle is rough enough. That's a really good question. I think it's good to set boundaries, but it's also really difficult, right? Like, if someone doesn't respect you and doesn't support you, then you got to keep reinforcing the boundaries, but it's really hard. I don't really have tips. I think, like, I avoid these situations in my own life. And so I don't know. Sorry. Thank you for asking the question. Let's see. Where are we? STM says, I don't know if you mentioned this, but just a tip that worked for us is leaving a text document open or on some surface. Yeah, we use Discord for ourselves. We like build our own Discord server, and then we have like different channels in there. One for the protectors, one for when we have a bad day, one for our system kits, etc., etc. It's quite extensive, so I don't know all the channels like out of my memory, but yeah, that works great. The other day I found out that on Facebook you can actually messenger yourself. I didn't know that. We have multiple accounts, so we always message each other, but apparently you can just message yourself. So that's also nice, and document also worked great, of course. Thanks for the tip. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Sorry. Kelly says, every time I try to do something that I would enjoy, I procrastinate, and then someone inside stops me from doing it. That's hard. I'm so sorry. What could you do about that? It's a question about self-sabotage, says in the other message. Do you like reserve time for the nice thing, or do you like randomly think I'm gonna do the nice thing? For me, it helps if I like plan it. So every afternoon for me between 2 and 3, when my kid comes home, I allow myself to spend like really one-on-one time with my kid. And then after that, I allow myself to spend some time on my phone to just relax or read a book, something like that. And I've noticed that like now that it's in my routine, it's easier to do those things. So maybe you can schedule it in your routine. How do you feel about people who have reached final fusion and state/insist that their alters had always been parts of one person despite feeling different before fusion? Is it invalidating? I think people's opinions can change, and also the experience can change over time. I think it's difficult to look back once you're integrated and hold on to the beliefs you had earlier. I think that's really difficult. So I don't know if it's invalidating. Like if they say it about their own system, I think that's fine. If people are saying it about other people's system, I don't think that's okay. How do you manage communicating to your system when no one responds? Asks someone on Facebook. So this is really hard, right? Like back in the day when we didn't have internal communication and just external communication, we used to journal a lot. And like almost every day we'd be like, hey, if someone is here, please like leave a message. And like sometimes it would take days or weeks before we heard something back. So I guess be persistent and don't give up, and encourage the other people in your system. If there is someone in your system that you do have contact with already, I would build on that relationship and build rapport and trust, so that the other people in your system can see that and can see the positive experience that you both have from interacting with each other, and that nothing bad happens. And I would reassure them that communication is a good thing, and that it's allowed now for you all to communicate with each other if that plays part, or potentially plays part, in the fear that some people in you might have. Okay, I need a drink. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. We're back. Yay. Okay, sorry. There we go. How do you manage communicating to your system when no one responds? I already answered that. Where was I then? Oh yes, here it is. Any tips for encouraging getting other parts who haven't communicated with me to start? Yes, I would write a letter to yourselves where you invite the others to start communicating with you. I would introduce yourselves and explain that now it's 2020 and you're safe in the here and now, and you're willing and able to start communications with them. Someone on Facebook says, boundaries are so hard, you just have to practice and draw some hard lines. Yeah. 8222 says, thank you. It helps to know that you don't know either. Good. That makes me feel better as well. Okay. Swati says, the tip that works for us is we forgive ourselves. We make goals, but we change a lot, so we forgive and let go of something we didn't do. Yeah, same for us, for sure. Kyle Andrea says, ask what the threat is. They probably feel threatened. I think that's in response to like getting to know new people in you and asking them to communicate with you. I think that's a good question. Okay, let's see if I can catch up. Hi, Radio Collective. Welcome. So glad you could make it. Let's see. I'm behind in the chat. Maybe putting friendly notes around the house, not even asking for replies, but just there's cookies on the bench and stuff can help lower walls that we're not sure on this. Yeah, for sure. I remember vividly Isa making us soup and it being in the fridge with like a note saying like I made soup for you all. I was mind blown. Like all those years ago, like that's definitely 11, 12 years ago that happened for the first time. And I took a picture and I showed my social worker, like, oh my God, like, why would I do that? That's how I said it. Why would I write a note to myself? And she was like, because it's not you. Like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Someone on Facebook says we use the self-talking app, but we might try to learn the Discord app. I don't know if the self-talking app like lets you make different profiles, but that was what we really like about Discord. We use it together with Plural Kit. It's a bot. And it lets you set who is fronting. And if you're co-conscious, then you can actually have a conversation with each other. Like you can, like, same in self-talk, but but you can, like, it says who is talking, I guess. You can indicate who is talking. Yeah, we like it. If you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If you're just tuning in, welcome. My name is Bailey. I'm co-conscious with Amy and Isa, because I talked about her soup, and Emma. Radio Collective says, wood for chicken soup. That is so funny. Together with the TPA team, we run a secret group called Chickens, a group where we all pretend to be chickens. Something like that. So, inside joke. Not a question, it's just amusing that our screen reader says system clock when checking the time, so only plurals can know the time. That's funny. I know this is about self-care, but the memories don't stop. That's derailing every time. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really hard. I think like doing self-care helps with that, yeah? And time. Time has helped us. I know it's cliche, but it did. Like, we haven't had therapy, right, for like the longest time, but we have less flashbacks than 10 years ago without really being able to process the trauma. I hope for you, you get to process the trauma. Don't get me wrong. If you want to, obviously, if you have trauma in the first place. Sorry, so many assumptions. But yeah, so anyway, 10 years later, we have less flashbacks. Do you have any advice on coping with the changing season? Fall, winters are the hardest for me. Yeah, same. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I use vitamin D in high quantities. Unlike we had a therapist once who like told us to buy things like strawberries and like pretend it's summer from time to time. I don't know how that worked out, but like I guess I guess on the really hard days it tricked our mind enough to make it through. Overall, like I don't really know what to do about seasonal depression. Like there are so many ideas out there, like the light therapy and stuff, but I'm not a doctor and I have no experience with that myself, so I don't really know. Someone on Facebook says, any tips for coping with denial and accepting being plural? So denial seems to be part of plurality, or at least DID, OSDD for a lot of people, not everyone, but for a lot of people. And so for me, but it's just me, I don't know how it works for you, but for me, what really helped was just fully accepting that the denial is part of the disorder. So whenever I feel denial or I hear denial or I experience denial, I say, okay, clearly I have DID because this is part of my disorder. And that works for me because I got diagnosed over 10 years ago. And so I've been doing this for a long time and I still deal with denial to this day. So that's really kind of weird, right? That still is such a thing for me and many others as well. And then some people in our system have it a lot more than other people. Like we have one person in our system who still does not believe we have DID, who does not believe we're plural, like at all. Like every time she will challenge like someone on the outside and say we don't have it and like it's all fake and one day everyone is going to find out we're faking it all. I don't think that's true. I think that would be mind-blowing if that was the case. But yeah, she cannot, I don't know if her pronouns are she, they cannot grasp it. They just seem unable to grasp it. So let's see where we are in the chat. How do you realize the difference between plural and not DID specifically? I love this question from the Facebook user. Thank you so much for asking me this. So for DID, one needs to have different parts of the personality, as they call it, what I call people in my system, and some people call parts or alters. You also need out of the ordinary forgetting, sometimes called amnesia. And then you need clinical distress. And it's up to the clinician to decide if you have enough clinical distress to warrant a diagnosis. If you do not have amnesia, you could also, but you do have clinical distress, you could be diagnosed with OSDD. But if you do not experience clinical distress, then you could identify as plural. If you do have multiple people in your body, but you do not experience clinical distress, then you can identify as plural. Some people, they do have clinical distress, but they do not, and they would technically maybe meet the criteria for DID or OSDD, but they don't really care about that. Like they don't really identify with the medical model, or maybe they believe they are born plural, or they got plural for any other reason than early childhood trauma, and they could also identify as plural. And then sometimes some people, they create on purpose or by accident other people in their system at some time in their life, and they can also identify as plural. So plural is just an umbrella term for everyone who is many, as we call it, everyone who experienced this experience that we are here for in this live stream. And then under that umbrella is DID, OSDD, and then like a whole bunch of other labels that people came up with. Some have gorgeous names like quadgenic, which is people who are not sure or they don't want to label or specify, like maybe their origin or further label down their plurality. And so it's an umbrella. So you could be DID and plural if you want to. I hope that answers the question, kind of. Let's see. Kaleidoscope says, thanks Bailey and system. We appreciate the live stream, the tips, and all your hard work. Need to say goodbye for now. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great time here. Let's see where we are. I'm so far behind. STM says, whenever we doubt, someone else will just say, I love you internally, and that helps. Of course, we're not traumagenic, so that's different. Yeah, it might be. I mean, sure, it's different, but like, I think it helps for anyone to say more I love yous to the other people inside for sure. Let's see. Great explanation, easy to understand. You're so welcome. Do you think DID should be clubbed with an umbrella term as plural? What does clubbed mean? Sorry, my English. Can you elaborate, Swati, what you mean with this, please? I would love to answer it, but I just don't fully understand. Swati says, I mixed up or my English is not as good as yours. I'm sure it's fine. You're doing great, Swati. Thank you so much. So Kelly says, I think DID is the same as plural. And I'm going to say it's not. So DID is a disorder that can get diagnosed by a mental health professional, right? Like a psychologist or psychiatrist. And plurality is not a disorder. It is not something that should be seen that way, because the people who are plural and don't have the ID or don't identify with those models, they explain that they are not disordered. So to label them disordered is not okay. Because they do not identify that way and they do not experience the plurality that way. They do not have clinical distress. Harry says, my headmates like to hallucinate sensations when interacting with me, like when hugging, you really feel it. Do any of you guys do that? I'm curious what other people have to say about that. I think we have that if we go into our inner world. I don't know if I would call it hallucinate sensations for my own system, but I do think we experience something like that. Ooh, where are we? What is going on? I think there is a delay. Hold on. I'm trying to find the comment. Radio Collective says, yes, I feel physical sensations when people touch the inside me. That makes sense. Like, not the exact sensations, it's more memory of what a texture would feel like. Question. We are in the process of coming out. We're going by our system name in residential right now, but hard for the body name. Would you make the shift? Oh, sorry. Would you make that shift if some are holding on to the body name? So it's not like a legal name change, just what you're asking people to call you? If you have that opportunity and they can provide it, then yeah, I would definitely ask for that. If that makes you feel safe, if some people are really scared of that in your system, then maybe work on that more and explain why it's important to you first. But if you have that option and you would like that, then I would definitely try to go for that. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Let's see where we are. Harry says, for me, it's when someone's co-conscious. It's really nice when you're scared and your protector puts an arm around you. I guess it doesn't feel like a memory of a sensation. Yeah, that makes sense, Harry. We had a therapist explain to us, and we also do it, like we practice this, when we're scared, to ask our protectors to stand right behind us and to lay one of their hands on our shoulder. And if possible, to ask for two protectors behind us and both lay their hands on our shoulder so we can like feel their strength and like kind of connect with them and feel more secure in here and now. So we do that. So put an arm around you does sound nice. Okay, I have a few more minutes left on the stream for today. So let me know if you have any more last minute questions that you want me to answer. Calendria says, any tips for sleep when folks want to stay up late and wake up early? Hard to create enough routine. I know agreeing would make sense, but some folks are night morning people. Yes, story of my life. It's really, really hard, like really hard. I also read this like theory maybe or something like that said like people will feel like they don't have a lot of control in their day-to-day life. They like want to stay up at night so they can feel more in control. That really resonated with us. And what also resonated with us is that at night, it's a lot more silent around us. Like there aren't as many cars. My neighbors are silent. And so for me, it's like real quiet. And so that's also like why I like to stay up late, or some people in me like to stay up late. It's really hard. Like we were unable to do it until our son came home, and we are just forced to wake up 7 a.m. every morning, whether we want to or not. So I guess that's not really a tip, but that's what we did. So let's see. Clockwork says, YouTube died on my end. Yes, we experience projection of all the senses and perceptions. If someone is touching me in thought space, occasionally I will feel it physically on my own physical body. Awesome. Someone on Facebook says, thank you so much for answering so many things for us. You're so welcome. STM says, naps help us. Yes, for sure. Someone on Facebook says, I really respect and appreciate our community, and you've helped us feel safe and comfortable as a possible plural system. Thank you so much for letting me know that. That's great. Crystal's added, or fears about going to bed or sleep. Yeah, for sure. Like that is definitely a thing. Harry says, I like your haircut. Thanks. Appreciate it. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it that we could share this time together. If you enjoyed this kind of live stream where I like give this little like where we talk about a topic and then we take some questions, please let me know in the chat. I really want to know if you like this. I really enjoyed it that I could go live on multiple platforms like this, and it gave huge amount of interaction. So that's really nice. And a lot of fun. Thank you so much, everyone, for asking us your questions so vulnerably, and we really appreciate it. And also for you all being here. I want to ask if you are financially able to, please consider donating to the Plural Association Nonprofit. which helps over 3,000 people in 50 countries with 50 volunteers. And you can make donations at the pluralassociation.org/donate or through the buttons on our new central website, thepluralassociation.com. So if you haven't checked out that website, please do. It's brand new. It's gorgeous. I put a lot of time and effort in it. I will put the link in the chat to make it a little bit easier for you. That's the link to the website. Thank you all so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you want to do this another time again. I'm just like hanging out for a few more minutes and then so I can read the chat and then I'm gonna go. Because I think there is a bit of a delay between what I say and between what you folks type. Someone on Facebook says, love the haircut. Thanks. It's new. I'm not touching it. Someone says, definitely do it again. Awesome. Casey and Terry says, this was fun to listen to. We'd love to join and learn more about DID this way. Awesome. So glad to hear it. Thank you so much. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry. Canalave maybe? Says, I just got here. Dang. You can watch it back. It will be available on YouTube. Power to the Plural's YouTube channel. Sorry. Someone on Facebook says, I don't see the link. That's correct. You do not see the link. I will post it in your chat as soon as this is over. Sorry, I cannot type in the Facebook chat from this live stream platform because we're live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. No, not Instagram. Sorry, that didn't work out. Twitter at the same time. Kelly says it would be cool if you just talked about whatever you want and don't worry about the chat and we can all hang out and chat. Yeah, we can try that next time. I will try. Maybe I'm too nervous, but we can try. Harry says, I'll try to come next week. I'm really bad at being on time. That's okay. It's also a bit early maybe for you all. But here in Europe, it's already 9 o'clock now. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. We hope to see you next time. It was a lot of fun to do this. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this was great. Really, really enjoyed this new format and so much interaction. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. See you next time, everyone. Bye.